Welcome back for another video. No more pre-season games left, we're all done now and there's not long to go till Game Week 1. For the next video in the pre-season series, we're doing the whole of pre-season in one short and sweet video. So every single result, all of the informed players you need to know about, tactical notes and literally anything else that's of relevance for FPL. Scout do an unbelievable job documenting this information, plus match reports, minutes played by every player, transfers made by each club and loads more in addition to that, and all the rest that you get as a member. Use the link below to get a discount and become a member now. Arsenal played 5 games over pre-season, 3 wins and 2 losses. So how did the big new man Jonas get on? He started in their final 2 games actually and he scored a great header against Athletic Bilbao. There was a lot of speculation that Havertz is going to be the one that starts in Game Week 1 because he had started 3 pre-season games in a row at that point. But interestingly, he wasn't in the squad against Villarreal and he was benched in that final game. Arsenal fans, get your predictions in the comments for the rest of us. Will he start or not? My initial instinct is either way, his minutes aren't going to be 90 every game, so Watkins just seems like the more logical choice from Game Week 1 at about the same price and then just go from there. He's actually got a stellar record home to Newcastle. Watkins has scored in his last 3 home games against them, 4 goals, 2 assists in fact. Gabriel's been managing an injury over pre-season, so he's missed a few games. He actually only started the final game and he came off at 62 minutes. Man United away is such a significant opening game, and if I was to predict, I would say he starts Game Week 1. There was a man of the match performance from Zubimendi as well in that final game. He was sensational and he got the assist for the Gyökeres header as well. Saka also superb that match, 1 goal, 1 assist in the final game. Havertz also scored coming off the bench. I'm expecting this to be really close to the Game Week 1 lineup. Maybe Lewis Skelly for Calafiori, and that's about it. But it could be Calafiori left back. Regardless, avoid the Arsenal fullbacks in your team. Just go for Raya, Gabriel or Saliba. So I mentioned Watkins there. He closes pre-season with 5 goals, 1 assist, scoring in the 5 games in a row that he played in. Pretty much all of them headers in fact. Rodgers also impressed early on. He got goals in consecutive games before going off injured 7 minutes after he came on against Roma with a rolled ankle, and he didn't make it in their final pre-season squad frustratingly, so now he does look a little bit risky. Just keep an eye on what Emery says, unless he's seen in training and declared fully fit, he could be a slightly risky choice for Game Week 1. I still think he's got a chance of starting, but let's see what happens. 2 clean sheets in total for Villa against Roma and Villarreal. Anyone from Bournemouth worth considering then? Kepa, Howson, Zabanye, Kirk is all gone from last season at the back. They still managed a couple of clean sheets in pre-season, so don't completely write them off defensively, but yeah, you'd back Liverpool to beat them comfortably. Game Week 1 on Friday night. They've just signed Diakite for about 30 million in centre-back. Evan Nilsson's got 2 goals, 1 assist, so that's the same output as Dango actually, but Dango's not nailed of course, so avoid him. Evan Nilsson, Semenyo, Senesi and Petrovic are the 4 good options for Game Week 1 I would say. Truffert as well actually, he's got a few goal involvements, he's the Kirkes replacement at left back. The 4.5 keepers are much of a muchness really. Senesi's excellent for defensive contributions per 90, so he could do well over the season. Semenyo and Evan Nilsson, they should score a fair few goals between them as well. 4.5 forward, Kripke Jr. is the last one to mention. He played in 3 of those pre-season games. The teenager scored 22 goals in 33 games in the French second tier last season. There is a chance he gets the odd minutes off the bench here and there if they don't loan him out, but Evan Nilsson's absolutely nailed up top. 4.5 midfielder Traore actually played every game except the 2 squad split against Real Sociedad. They do have injuries in midfield though, which is probably contributing to that. There's likely better 4.5 midfielders, which we'll uncover in a minute. Brentford have kept their pre-season short and sweet, just 3 games, 1 win and 2 draws. Certainly a team going through major transitions with Frank and Bumo, Captain Norgard all gone. Wissa likely to also depart before the window closes. And this has actually brought 6 mil forward Thiago into the conversation recently. He's had a really stop-start time at Brentford. He was signed last season and he got seriously injured twice, so he's barely played. He's been really unlucky in that respect. It's slim pickings in that 6 mil and under bracket for the forwards. There is Fulkrug, maybe Muniz, but not many options are there. Shard has been out injured as well, which has actually seen Lewis Potter playing out of position in left wing. I mean, I say out of position like he's a defender. His natural position is left wing. He basically filled in at left back a lot last season because of injuries, so that saw him reclassified to defender, which he's not. Very risky pick though really, because Unless Sharda has a setback, I would just avoid him because it's an inevitable headache as soon as Sharda's available. Kelleher actually missed their final game of injury as well, so keep an eye on that one if you've got him or if you were considering him. Valdemarsson played in goal. Brighton have been extremely busy, a stark contrast to Brentford. 8 games played, though some of those were a 2-team split across each game, having played against Southampton and Wolfsburg twice. Låbakk bagged 4 goals, but it's worth mentioning all 4 of those came against Wycombe Wanderers in their first match. And he is 34 now, of course, he's not getting any younger. Herzler was actually asked about that competition at centre forward, Låbakk versus Rutter. Obviously, João Pedro's gone now, and he said to follow him. No, it's not a decision between him and Låbakk. They played last season together. Jorginho is always an option. He's very playable in this position. So yeah, he's a solid pick for 6 million, classified in midfield and FPL. Minte is also 6 million, of course. He's got 2 goals, 1 assist. Mitoma, 0.5 more. They could share minutes in right wing though, Rutter and Minte. So I think Rutter is probably the better pick because he's so versatile. He can play as a 10, a 9, or even on right wing. 4.5 mil defender De Cooper scored from a really tight angle in their final match. He's their new left back signing to replace Estupinian. Brighton went the entire pre-season unbeaten impressively. I won't bore you with the details of Burnley updates, there's very little to report on here. Estev did just sign a new contract, he's completely nailed 4 mil defender, so that makes him a really handy pick. He should actually pick up defensive contribution points a fair bit as well, but the clean sheets are going to be few and far between. Edwards scored 3 times, but he's a minutes risk, so yeah, just avoid the Burnley assets entirely besides Estev. And of course Dubravka, who almost forgot about that. To play devil's advocate, Burnley aren't afraid to use young keepers, are they? Like, see Trafford just last season. And Weiss actually saved a penalty after coming on at half-time in their final game. Dubravka wasn't in the squad. He is still our best bet as far as the 4 mil keepers though, so yeah, Dubravka is the one. World champions Chelsea had a short 2-match pre-season due to the competition, of course, and that was wins over Bayer Leverkusen and AC Milan. The games were played 2 days apart, so the squads were really split in terms of the lineups. João Pedro came off the bench in the first game and he scored, and he started in the second one and scored as well. Delap scored a brace, one of which was actually a penalty, it should be noted, because of course that'd be Palmer taking him this season. Big respect to Esteval, who's really impressed. What a talent he looks as well. He scored in their first game, and he did win the penalty in that second game, and he was within his right to say, I want to take this, but he gave it to Delap, perhaps for confidence. Sanchez, Cucurella, Palmer and João Pedro would be the extent of Chelsea players worth looking at in my eyes. So yeah, Sanchez, Cucurella, Palmer, João Pedro. I'm looking at probably 2, maybe 3 of those. The most informed player title belongs to Mateta. He's made it increasingly difficult to look past him over the last month with 5 goals, 2 assists. Of course, in the Community Shield itself, Palace beating Liverpool on penalties. He scored in that game, assisted by Sarr, who also scored that match. So that's 4 goal involvements for 6.5 mil Sarr over pre-season. He's my favourite of the 6.5 mil mids because he just knocks the others out of the park for underlying data, like expected goal involvement, shot frequency, but he can be a wasteful player. 2 goals, 1 assist for Eze. We'll have to see if he stays at Palace this window. The same could be said for Guehi, in fact, of the 2 linked to Arsenal and Liverpool respectively. Could actually be a valid reason to get Guehi for 4.5 mil. He'll be a game breaker if he goes to Liverpool for that cheap. Failing that, he's still a sound pick at Palace anyway. So last season, it was a bit of a hokey-cokey between Eze and Mateta. They both missed penalties, so we assumed that Eze was on them because they went back to Eze and he scored, but in the Community Shield, it was Mateta who took the penalty won by Sarr and he scored it, which just further adds to his appeal as well. 7.5 mil. Anyone going for Mateta? It's just a shame the opening few fixtures aren't as generous, but longer term, nice fixtures. Dewsbury Hall had a really good debut in the match against Roma, playing like he had a point to prove, which he does in fairness. He played in the number 10 role as well. He was taking set pieces and he created 4 chances during that match. For 5 million, he instantly becomes a really interesting option with a lot of promise. If you can squeeze the 0.5 million out of somewhere else in your team, then it's infinitely better than any 4.5 mil midfielder. No informed players really at Everton, and Dyer has obviously emerged as a really popular 6.5 mil midfielder given they've got Leeds game week 1 and he's probably going to remain on penalties. He scored a nice half volley, that was his only return from pre-season. Wilson's been in phenomenal form for Fulham as well, 5 goals, 1 assist, so is he worth it for 5.5 mil? Well, the catch is he's really rarely a 90-minute player. He played 90 twice across the entirety of last season, and he does have competition for the right wing spot, so I'd actually look elsewhere despite the numbers. Wonder Kid King's been getting good minutes for Fulham as well. He's certainly not a 90-minute man either, but he's probably going to have an impact sub role most games. But yeah, he's only 4.5 mil, and he did score twice in pre-season. Fulham fans rate him so highly. Muniz didn't play in their final match. Jimenez did, and he scored a brilliant free kick. The Fulham striker situation is still a little bit murky, too much so to go there, I think. Could be a tough season for Fulham initially. Robinson's also not fit to start the Premier League, and they've not really signed anyone so far. Leeds up next. We're mostly looking towards them for the super budget defenders more than anything. Gudmundsson and Rodon, both 4 million, and they're going to be regular starters. This was how Leeds lined up for their final game against AC Milan. Strike was in left centre-back in preparation for Game Week 1, given that BL was suspended for the first game, but Strike will drop to the bench after that. So, new signing Mecha scored twice in pre-season as well. He's competition for Pirot, which again makes the cheap forwards really slim pickings. The Darlow dream is also over after Perry arrived during the transfer window. Let's keep going then. By the way, I wrote down 3,300 words just to bring you this video, many hours to research it, so please do hit like and make sure you're subscribed if you appreciate the effort. There's more content like this to come before Game Week 1, including my final team, also a team reveal from the #1 all-time manager, the expert series and more. So, Liverpool have given us loads to think about. A really quiet pre-season from Salah really, but never rule out the Egyptian king. There have been a couple of moments where he was blatantly trying to just get his teammates on the score sheet, whereas in a Premier League game he would take the selfish option and shoot. His creativity's been absolutely stellar though. That's been shining throughout pre-season, not so much the goals, but yeah, he's going to get plenty of assists again this season as well as the goals. That said, a bit of a disaster Community Shield, no goal involvements, no chances created, no successful take-ons, no accurate crosses, and he missed his penalty in the shootout as Palace went on to beat them. Gakpo's been their top scorer, 4 goals, 1 assist, only 7.5 mil, which is tempting a lot of managers. Here's another case of the upside is absolutely there, but there is a minute's risk as well, particularly if Isak arrives, which seems to be probable. Wirtz has got a goal and 3 assists, I like him more. He's going to be fantastic for Liverpool this season. He should hit double-digit goals and assists. Frimpong scored in the Community Shield and he got an assist early on in the pre-season. It did look like an attended cross that inadvertently lobbed Henderson. Bradley wasn't in the squad though for the Bilbao or the Palace games, so let's see what we hear on the issue there. Of course, if that's going to be an ongoing issue or he's out for a while, then Frimpong becomes significantly more tempting. He's 28% owned as it is, and it's just a question of his minute security for me. At 6 million, you really need him playing every single game without fail. Slot was asked about how they're going to handle Salah going to AFCON mid-season, to which he answered, they've got Frimpong who will play there. I mean, imagine an out-of-position right-wing Frimpong for 6 million. Again, that's a potential game breaker, although it won't last that long, probably 3, 4, 5 game weeks. But yeah, that'll be a cheat code when that happens. Ekitike's look really sharp. Slot's got a real headache on his hand if or when Isak comes. Man City have played just the 2 games after the Club World Cup against Preston and Palermo, both of which were wins. Reinders has caught the eye of a lot of managers, especially that Palermo game and the Club World Cup really. He came on at half-time, he scored a brace, he actually should have had a hat-trick as well. He rounded the keeper, just sort of slipped when he went to take the shot. Pep has said that Rodri won't be really fit until after an international break, so avoid him. And this might not necessarily be good news for Reinders as an FPL asset. If Pep decides to use him as a 6, he's much better as an 8. 10 goals, 5 assists in 37 games in Serie A last season, and he's a 90-minute man, so there is potential there. It'd be an incredible pick if he ends up nailed for that cheap. I'm strongly considering him myself. It's him or Anderson for me at Forest. We can't draw too many conclusions with just 2 games, of course. Haaland did score 1 goal. Scouts, minutes and goal involvement tracker from pre-season does actually include the Club World Cup as well, which you'll find useful as well. Use the link below to get a discount and become a member. 8 Norrie's been getting lots of minutes as well, which is encouraging. For the Palermo game, Foden and Vardiol notably didn't travel due to some kind of injury in Foden's case and fitness in Vardiol's case. Still a very good chance that Vardiol starts Game Week 1 realistically, but it's worth a mention. Foden definitely not safe for minutes. So how does this new look Man United attack look? Cunha and Mbeumo still settling in. Obviously Sesko's joined as well. He joined too late to be involved in any pre-season matches, but they were undefeated in their 5 games played. Bruno, the standout performer with 3 goals, 2 assists. He's finally got some serious talent in front of him, which is making him almost irresistible to me as an FPL asset. Plus he's got the penalties, free kicks, set pieces, and just really consistent output over the years. We'll have to see how they all fit in together, like whether that means Bruno's going to have to play a bit deeper where he's not as effective, though he does have a high chance of defensive contribution points. Cunha and Abumo, I think, are a wait and see for now. Like, just find the extra money for Bruno if you want a Man United attacker. Dorgu, 4.5 mil, he's got 1 goal, 1 assist, which all came in one game. And Ahmad also with the same output. He's been playing in right wing back or right wing, but yeah, he could be an option for 6.5 mil still. He's not bad in that position. I know we all have a 4 mil defender, but Heaven's just too risky. He's not going to start every game, despite getting the nod in their final pre-season match. It's been a transfer window to forget for Newcastle fans, to put it lightly. In their pre-season games, the goals have really been shared between the wingers, which just makes them all avoids for me. It's just really unclear who's first choice, if anyone, and none of them look nailed right now. It's Murphy versus Elanga right wing, Gordon versus Barnes left wing. Isak, of course, didn't even go on their pre-season tour as well, due to the request to leave. There's no one that's tempting me for Newcastle right now. Maybe the 5 mil defenders could do well, like Livramento or Burn, but I'm unlikely to end up with any Newcastle assets from Game Week 1. Question for you, does Isak actually do better if he goes to Liverpool? I know they're a much better team, better attack, but he's going to lose penalties. He won't be the talisman anymore, and the goals could be more evenly shared among the attackers there. Encouragingly, Forest have kept 5 clean sheets in pre-season, more than anyone. So if you've got Sales or a defender, then that's what you want to see. Less encouragingly though, they literally found the back of the net once in all 7 games, which was Wood, assisted by Williams. You can't help but ask, is Wood the best 7.5 mil forward? Obviously in last season's form, absolutely. Or do we look at someone like Mateta or João Pedro? Are they more sensible? I mean, Wood was absolutely class last season, make no mistake. There was really consistent XG over performance, but can he maintain that? And how will Forest get on after losing Elanga and now having Europe to juggle as well? Mark Guehi was absent from both Sunderland squads, split in half for the final 2 friendlies, but he does seem the most promising of the 4.5 mil forwards. Just don't ever start him in your team. I mean, unless he genuinely breaks through into the 11, but in the meantime, he's just a useful player to have on your bench if you're running with a 3-5-2 every week. 1 goal, 1 assist for Adingra, which came in the Augsburg and the Hull games. So in other words, he was actually involved in their last 2 goals scored. The big dilemma for all of us is, do you go for a defensive contributions player like Anderson, Caicedo, or do you go for an attacker, a winger like Adingra or a Rice for the same price, who are basically less consistent points but a high ceiling? Solanke's not made the last 4 squads for Spurs, which has all but ruled him out as an option for Game Week 1 for me. Unless, of course, he starts in the Super Cup against PSG and impresses and gets solid minutes. Maddison injured his ACL in that 4-0 loss to Bayern. That was really a game to forget for multiple reasons, and he's going to miss a significant amount of the season, unfortunately. We might see Porro on corners and the odd free kick as well, though, which is noteworthy. 5.5 mil he costs. I mean, it did happen last season when Maddison was out. You get what you pay for with the Spurs defence. Like, there's Van de Ven, 4.5 mil, is probably going to be a 2 or a 6 point player. Romero's got more aerial threat than Van de Ven, and he'll probably do better over the season for DCs. And then there's Porro, the most expensive, really advanced at times. He'll be popping up down the right wing. He'll get a few goals and assists over the season from right back. Sarr is their most informed player actually. He's scored 3 times in pre-season. Of course there's Son gone, Maddison, Kulusevski, Solanke injured, so Spurs could be an avoid in terms of the attack. Kudus might do alright. The headline with West Ham has been Talisman Bowen reclassified as a forward after always being a midfielder in FPL. But don't rule him out as an option just yet, despite that he'll get 1 less point per goal and no clean sheet points anymore. He's still the main man, nothing's changed in that respect, and he's got 2 goals, 2 assists in pre-season. And it's Sunderland on the opening day for them, who could be the whipping boys this season. Fulkrug, 6 million striker's got 3 goals. He's the other 6 mil forward that's got some potential. My concern is his minutes longer term. He did actually complete 90 minutes in their final game, but West Ham do have Wilson, and of course Bowen can play up top as well, so I'm just not convinced the 90 minutes will be a regular thing. Perhaps not even nailed to start every game, unless he hits the ground running. The appeal is definitely there though, isn't it, with that opening fixture. Juve is also really impressed. He's the new signing at left back, 4.5 mil. Unbelievable cross on him. He actually got 7 goals and 3 assists in 24 games for Slavia Prague last season. He's the differential 4.5 mil alternative to the very popular Wan-Bissaka, who's actually the most owned defender in the game at 30%. 4.5 mil midfielder Potts started their final game as well, which looked like a full strength team interestingly, so he's another potential 4.5 mil mid to consider. Wolves next, and then we'll review the goal involvement's final table. So their pre-season came to an end with a disappointing 1-0 loss to Celta Vigo. Arias scored in that match. He looks lightning fast, really tricky player. No one created more than his 18 chances at the Club World Cup, where he was playing under Fluminense still. Looks really fast, tricky dribbler, loads of potential for 5.5 mil. My rule of thumb is to generally always avoid new signings that are yet to prove themselves in the Prem, but it's low risk for that cheap, isn't it, to be fair. Agbadou's my favourite of the Wolves defender if you're looking there. He's got one of the best defensive contributions per 90 last season. Lastly, let's look at the final standings. So this is sorted by goal involvements across all players and teams. So it's Mateta number 1 with 7 goal involvements, followed by Harry Wilson of course, and then Watkins with 6 each. We talked about Wilson earlier and why he's probably in a void. Bruno, Marlon and Gakpo have got 5 involvements each. So if you really wanted to maximise form, you could go with Mateta and Watkins up front, Bruno midfield, that sort of setup. Marlon is an option if you're willing to accept the minutes risk, otherwise Ratte or Sarr. Crystal Palace's Sarr, that is. I mean, Tottenham's, I'm less keen on him, even though he is just 5 mil. Some other notable names showing up here: Wirtz, Evan Nilsson, Saka, Gakpo and Bowen. If this was helpful, make sure you do hit subscribe. It's completely free and you can always change your mind. Loads more great content coming before the deadline. Thanks for watching and see you soon for the next one.